Texans with an insane opportunity this week. Could they end up being contenders? Plus, DeMeco Ryan says some interesting things. We put a bow on the Indianapolis game. We go on to, oh my gosh, I can't believe we're saying this. Kansas City on Sunday night. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the locker room on YouTube. You know what it is. Let's get it.
We'll do it live.
Hey. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top 2 and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days. Opinions.
What a time to be alive. What a time to cover this squad. It is the locker room presented by Sleeper. Shout out to the greatness that is Sleeper. We were so close to going perfect last week. We went 1-2 on the picks, and we only missed the Texans 1 by 1. Tyler Warren just couldn't get the yards. I shouldn't have underestimated DeMeco Ryan's defense and his ability to shut not one, but 2 prominent guys out. But sometimes it be like that with Sleeper. But if you want to play the greatest game going, higher, lower, you should. The clock is ticking, although they do have it for basketball and baseball. But football is where it's the most fun. You can get $20 entry, no deposit needed right now with the Sleeper app. You can also sprinkle a little something on that just in time for the playoffs. Ooh, playing this in the playoffs is going to be incredible.
Playoffs?
You get that 100% match up to $100. Use that promo code LOCKER. Shout out to everyone that's been tailing this season. We did pretty good last week. We'll get some more as it goes. And as everyone knows, use it as your scoring app as well. Sleeper, the best sports app in the game. The Texans, they got the dub over the Indianapolis Colts. And we've talked about this. DeMeco Ryan's had some very interesting things to say. Do we owe Nick Caley an apology based on what DeMeco Ryan said? Do I owe Nick Caley an apology? Nick. The answer for me is probably not. But it was interesting, some of the things that DeMeco Ryan said that just make you wonder at least a little bit. But the Colts game, I think there are a couple takeaways here. Number one, I think CJ Stroud looked good. I think CJ Stroud had a very good return. The defense continues to do what the defense does. It is the superpower of this team. And I think the Indianapolis Colts right now, their upside is gone. Their upside has been eliminated. And quite frankly, at this point, you can make a case that perhaps the Colts, they're in trouble. They have a quarterback on one leg who has mobility that is one of his strengths. They have a cornerback who they traded a hell of a lot for that's hurt. And they have a tough schedule. And they needed to split these last 2 weeks to have some sort of breathing room. But the Colts, as like a dark horse contender, that's it. That's a wrap. They can still, if they even get into the playoffs, then you got to tip the cap to Shane Steichen. But the notion that the Colts, with their historic start on offense, that they're going to be anything, that those hopes broke as soon as we found out that Daniel Jones had a broken fibula. And the Texans are kind of in the driver's seat. Quite frankly, I wonder if Daniel Jones is even going to be able to play the last week of the season at this point. I know he's doing a good job. He did a good job managing it against the Texans, but I just wonder, is he going to be able to play the final week of the season when the Texans face him? He's also got some tough weeks ahead. So the Colts ceiling, you're not going to pour one out for them. They're still very much in the mix. They still very much have a chance to make the playoffs, but that's a wrap. That's not one of those high upside teams. The chances of the Colts winning a Super Bowl is 0%. There are no odds in the world that anyone should take for the Colts winning a Super Bowl. If someone gave you 1,000,000-to-1 odds right now, and you could bet $1 to win it on Indianapolis win the Super Bowl, you might as well just flush $1 down the toilet because they have zero chance. There's no chance they're done when it comes to that type of run with Daniel Jones having a cracked fibula. That's the end of that. So maybe they can limp their way into getting in, but it's not going to happen. So pour one out for the Indianapolis Colts when it comes to that. So that's the situation when it comes to Texans and Colts. That's where they're at. The one thing I will say about this week, though, is I think that there is a massive opportunity when it comes to the Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it's a lot bigger than it may get attention for. And as we go on to Kansas City, I think this is one of the most exciting weeks that I can remember in the regular season for the Texans in my time covering them, which is a decade plus. I think this is as good as it gets when it comes to covering this Texans squad. Sunday Night Football, the number one showcase of regular season football that the NFL has to offer. Biggest star in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. The star power that surrounds Patrick Mahomes. A team that's been in every AFC championship since Patrick Mahomes took over as the starter. And right now, a team in the Texans who are getting a hell of a lot of love with a massive opportunity to really end the Chiefs season. Now, the Chiefs could still get into the playoffs, but it's going to be an uphill battle for them. They don't have any tiebreakers, and at the very least, they're not getting in over you if you're the Texans and you win this game. Now, the Texans open as a 4-point underdog, and the Chiefs are going to have a little bit of extra rest after the Thanksgiving game. But if you go to Arrowhead, you beat the Chiefs, you beat, I think, the biggest threat, or the team that scares me the most. They might not be the biggest threat. I might just be having a unhealthy amount of respect for what the Chiefs have done in recent years as opposed to what they are right now. Right now, they have a depleted offensive line. They look very beatable. The offense can't run the ball consistently. The speed at receiver is not consistent. Travis Kelce looks washed up. The defense is hit or miss. And quite frankly, they're missing a lot more than they actually hit. And they're not the team that they once were. With that said, you lay out all the teams in the AFC. You lay out all the teams in the AFC, and you imagine the Texans having to beat these teams in significant games. I still fear the Chiefs more than any of them. And maybe that's just based on the unknown. But you go down the list, New England and Denver, they have the two best records. They have the best records in the AFC right now. They're competing for that 1 seed. New England, Denver. Bo Nix, Drake May. Great coaching job by Mike Vrabel. Great coaching job by Sean Payton. I don't know that you're shaking in your boots if you have to meet Drake May or Bo Nix in a big game. Broncos might have a problem at corner, too. They have a guy who exposes himself, Chasen Sehorn, over there on the side. Chargers. Look at the Chargers. Herbert has a broken left hand. We talk about Daniel Jones with the broken foot. We've already broken that down. That's another team. So the Patriots offensive line gone to crap. Drake May never been in the playoffs. Bo Nix, been in the playoffs, not great. Denver, seems like they're basically the 2018 Houston Texans who finding a way to win their division, but I think everyone thinks they're flawed. Chargers, depleted offensive line. I think they're down to like their fifth tackle. Justin Herbert has a broken hand. We've seen DeMeco Ryans against that squad. Buffalo, historic game running the rock the other day, but Buffalo has not really been what we've been accustomed to. So they're flawed. Herbert with the broken hand, which we just mentioned. The Ravens and Steelers, they're both 6-6. Lamar Jackson looks broken. I'm the biggest Lamar Jackson fan that there is. I go to bat. I go to war for Lamar Jackson. Massive Lamar Jackson fan here. He's playing as bad as he has. He looks banged up. So he's not what you thought he was. The Jags, we know what the Jags are. You have a pretty good idea of what Jacksonville is. Like all these teams that you're competing with, there's no scary team. The scariest team right now is by far the Kansas City Chiefs, and you face them this Sunday, and you have a chance to basically end their season in a de facto playoff game where if you win the game, the goal to get in is 10 games. You'll have 2 games left to win. You'll be 8-5, so you'll need to go 2-2. You have the Colts team that we've already mentioned as one of your matchups. The Chargers team with the quarterback with the broken hand as another matchup. Then you have the Raiders, absolute dumpster fire. They just fired their OC. And then you have the Cardinals, who have been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. And right now, Jacoby Brissett's the quarterback. Things are lining up nicely. It could still get interesting if you lose to Kansas City, but you have a huge chance to kill Kansas City's season. I don't know if that's going to kill the dynasty, but I can promise you this. If the Texans go and they beat the Kansas City Chiefs this Sunday, then suddenly, you know, the hot take shows and everything, all the headlines that you're going to see. I don't watch these shows, but I always see the headlines when I'm scrolling through my X feed or Facebook feed or whatever. It's going to be, is the dynasty dead? And it's going to be how legit are the Texans? Not the end all be all, but I think it's a legit question. It's a legit opportunity. It's a massive opportunity. And if you look at the vulnerability of all these teams and what Kansas City is and what Kansas City can be and the switch that Kansas City appears to have the potential to flip anytime they get in a big moment, specifically with that quarterback, you have a chance to get ahead of things and end that season and kick them while they're down. That's the opportunity in front of the Texans. Now, can they do it? I don't know. I thought they would beat the Colts once the news came out about Daniel Jones. I didn't before that. There are some flaws about this team right now that are concerning. And it's the don't ignore in victory what you would not ignore in defeat. It's the Jeff Van Gundy philosophy that we practice on this channel on SNL Monday through Friday at 4 o'clock when you're trying to go from good to great. The offense is still flawed. The way in which this offense functions is still flawed, and it's going to have to be better regardless of how flawed those teams are because they are good squads. And you can't ask the defense to do it every single week. They say complimentary football for a reason. They're going to have to figure that out. And my question is this when it comes to the offense. I've been very, very, very critical of Nick Caley. Nick. Stinks right now. He does. And the end of the first half the other day, J.J. Watt was flabbergasted. I was flabbergasted. I don't know what the hell they were doing to go 41 seconds between the first play and the second play when you're trying to go get points. Unforgivable. And then you go 21 seconds after that. Unforgivable. Just an absolute cluster F. And I don't know what they were doing. And then you look at the end of the game, 4th and 1, kick the field goal, you're up 7. They run the tight end Cade Stover tush push consecutive times. But I do wonder, is DeMeco Ryans handcuffing the offense? Did DeMeco Ryans kind of tell on himself today when it came to perhaps handcuffing the offense? Cody Stoots asked DeMeco about the consecutive tush pushes with Cade Stover. Listen to what he said, and we'll try to get some clarification of this on Wednesday and Thursday, but listen to what DeMeco Ryans said when it came to that tush push. We talked about this a lot today on Reaction Monday, presented by the greatness that is TDECU. Get that fresh Texans debit card, tdecu.org/Texans. 15% off the team shop. You want the Buc-ee's card, you want the U of H card, you can get that. Go to tdecu.org. They got you covered just in time for the holidays. Here was DeMeco's answer to Cody talking about the tush push back-to-back with Cade Stover.
Yeah, during that series, we were driving the ball down, felt really good of how we were driving the ball. Honestly, on the first third down, I felt like we got it. I felt we had really good movement, and I told the guys to do it again. Just being aggressive there, that's my call as the head coach. I'm aggressive, so, hey, it didn't work. That happens sometimes, but it's not going to stop me from being aggressive.
Okay. So does he tell him to run the same play again? Is that what we're doing? Is this just doubling down at the blackjack table recklessly? Or is he saying, just go get me a yard? Because there's a big difference there. Because I'm very quick to separate the defense and the offense. But if the head coach is up there and he's saying, I told him to do it again, I told him to go get the yard because we got the push, then maybe I owe Nick an apology. Nick. Maybe old DeMeco's a little bit of a lingerer, and maybe this defensive-minded, hard-headed, meathead head coach type stuff is valid. I don't know. But I can't criticize Nick Caley for running the same play twice if DeMeco told him to, and then it makes me wonder even more. Did DeMeco tell him in Seattle, hey, run it behind Lake and Tomlinson again? How far does this go? We got to get to the bottom of this. But let's hear DeMeco Ryans talking about his aggressiveness and what helps dictate.
There's always numbers, analytics, but it's also a feel. When I see our guys move the pile there on 3rd and 1 like they moved it, I feel like we could have did it again. And so I'm not going back on that decision there.
Okay. So he's not going back on it. Is he defending it? Does that not sound like DeMeco Ryans is saying that it was his idea to run that play consecutive times? I think going for it was the wrong decision. I think this team should always be leaning on the side of being conservative in their defense. Give the defense the 7-point lead. Let them protect the 7-point lead. If that doesn't happen and Indy goes and ties it, then maybe much like what happened at the Tennessee game, you're able to go down there and get the game. It's one thing to go for it. It's another thing altogether to completely tell the offensive coordinator, hey, run this play. That's completely different. So it kind of makes you wonder, we've seen this same offense, really, like different versions of it. And I would say that Bobby Slowick was probably slightly better than Nick Caley, but we've seen a same version of this offense and the defense being extra good for now 2 years. Is it a DeMeco thing? DeMeco, no O. Is it a DeMeco thing? Defense looks great. But he's going and telling a guy, it appears, to run the same play. Is that something that you want? Because it damn sure didn't work. Make it make sense. It is the locker room. We are doing the post-week reaction. Big opportunity for the Texans against Kansas City. But I just heard the head coach say that he told him to run the same play. That's how I heard it. We'll get to the bottom of this. Nick Caley's going to speak on Thursday. DeMeco Ryans going to speak again on Wednesday. They're off tomorrow, and it's a big week. It's Kansas City. But again, you want the Texans to be great. They're where we thought they would be before the start of the season, which is lovely. This is set up perfectly. And by the way, we want to see you this week at BB's out there in Brownwood. We'll be out there. Myself, Cody Stoots, BB's. Happy hour is crazy there, by the way. It's very crazy. But we'll be out there around 2:00. We'll do the live broadcast at 4. BB's this week. And then next week, back to Spanky's. Spanky's on the 12th and Spanky's on the 2nd, Sharpstown. So we'll do that. And we'll also be at BB's 2 Fridays from now. So BB's this Friday, then 2 Fridays after, that on the 12th. So the 5th and 12th, and then the 5th and 19th, and then the 12th and 2nd for Spanky's. We'll be there. It's in the description. Jose on the chat says, huge test for sure. I watched the network show the Texans plenty of love. Then I remember what we've been versus the Chiefs since blowing the 24-point lead. I don't know how I feel. PTSD is real with this one. Yes, it is. It's a very big one. There's no doubt about that. Let's hear DeMeco Ryans on the end of the first half, because he says he's aggressive, but at the end of halves, it sure doesn't seem like they're aggressive. Why can't you be aggressive there where there's less to lose, it appears? I asked DeMeco Ryans about that. Here's what he had to say.
What was the goal at the end of the first half? Were y'all trying to get points? Were y'all trying to kind of balance aggressiveness with maybe not aggressiveness?
Yeah, we're trying to get points there. We are trying to get points. We didn't execute how we wanted to execute at the end of the half. If we get the first down, we're in a good spot there. Want to finish vertical there. Thought Higgins did a great job of catching the football, but we got to finish vertical, get the first down there. Then we're in position to go ahead and try to get points.
And this guy sounds like a guy who's trying to help with the offense, but might not be equipped to do it. We're trying to get vertical. My thing is, you didn't snap the ball from the first play to the second for 41 seconds. Maybe that's the execute part. But it does seem like DeMeco Ryans is kind of lingering with the offense a little bit. It might be a problem and something to watch, because I don't know that Nick Caley necessarily knows what he's doing either. But the reality is, like we started, there are no scary AFC teams. It's wide open. Texans are right there in the mix. And if this were last year's AFC, if this were last year's playoff picture, I don't know that this version of the Texans would be good enough to compete. But with the way things are shaping out and with the way a lot of things are going in their favor, I think the Texans are set up pretty nicely. And they have a massive opportunity starting with Kansas City this week. Massive. I mean, the conversation, the dialogue completely changes. The chances of getting in the playoffs, I think, go up to 80% if you beat Kansas City. 80%. Right now in the AFC South, the Jags are in first place. Jags got a hell of a layout, though. Their layout is very, very nice. They still have a game with the Titans. They got the 2 games with the Colts. Daniel Jones on one leg. They're set up very nicely, the Jags. But even if they win the division, and for me, I think the best case scenario is the Jags beat the Colts twice and just kind of wipe them away. And then worst case scenario, assuming that you take care of business, because the Colts have a tough-ass schedule ahead. We'll break this more down on SNL tomorrow at 4. But the Jags, if you have to go to Jacksonville in the first round to play a playoff game, I don't think you're too nervous about it. You've been there. You know them. So I think just either whether it's the Colts beating the Jags twice, which I think will be difficult, or the Jags beating the Colts twice, which I think is more ideal and more realistic based on the schedule. I think the Jags just wiping them away is the ideal scenario so you can get in the playoffs and have that safety net. If the Jags beat the Colts, push them back, then that provides you with a safety net. And at the very least, assuming that you take care of business, knowing that the schedule, there's a bunch of winnable games outside of that Kansas City game, and you can easily win the Kansas City game. It lays out. I think the Jags beating the Colts twice. That's me. That's me. That's the way that things look at the moment. But the Jags are set up nicely. I don't think anyone's scared to go there. And the entire script of what we thought an AFC run would look like, it's completely changed. The script is completely different. You thought you were going to go through Kansas City, Buffalo, and Baltimore. Maybe you do, but right now you've beaten 2 out of those 3 teams. How about that? If you beat Kansas City on Sunday, then you've gone 3-0 against these teams, and none of these teams are really going to be hosting you in the playoffs unless Baltimore wins the division, which they very well could, because the Steelers suck. And the Steelers and Ravens, they actually still play 2 times. They're both 6-6. It's hard to imagine 2 teams from the AFC North making the postseason, but these 2 teams play twice. But if you beat KC, then you've gone 3-0 against the 3 teams that you thought you would beat, and they don't really look like threats, and they're not at the top of the AFC. Life comes at you fast. Life comes at you fast. Sometimes you don't get this type of luck. That's the other thing. Like, sometimes it is really in the NFL, it is better to be lucky than good. Some teams get unlucky with injuries. Some teams get unlucky with scheduling. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. Jacksonville's very lucky that they get the Colts when they get the Colts. If Jacksonville would have played the Colts, Texans are lucky. Because if either Jacksonville or the Texans would have played the Colts earlier in the season, with the way that they were playing, there's probably a chance at the very least there's a split. Now Daniel Jones has a cracked fibula, Sauce Gardner's hurt, and you're getting them at the right time. Sometimes you just get lucky. Some teams have to face the Ravens with Lamar Jackson, others don't. Sometimes it just happens like that. You get the Bengals week 1 instead of week 2 through 12 without Joe Burrow. Sometimes it's just like that. And right now, the stuff that the Texans are not in control of, it seems like it's kind of going their way. Davis Mills holding it down is a big part of that. The fact that they have a good backup quarterback is a big part of that. But the lucky stuff, the lucky-ish, the better to be this than that, a lot of it's going the Texans' way. And they've taken advantage of it, and they've set themselves up. And now they have probably their toughest challenge, a team that's been to every AFC championship game going back to 2018. Unbelievable. You can end their season. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it. And I think the rest of the league would be thinking this is going to be one of those games. Sean Pendergast said it today on the Texans Collective, which you can hear every Monday at 6. Be sure to subscribe to that channel. Everybody's going to be rooting for the Texans because everybody has a high amount of respect for the Kansas City Chiefs. You look at the Chiefs, every year since 2018, they've been in the AFC Championship. 2018 against New England, 2019 against the Titans, 2020 against the Bills, 2021 against the Bengals, 2022 against the Bengals again, 2023 against the Ravens, and then last year against the Bills. The path has gone through Kansas City, and it still kind of feels like it does. It just happens to be in week 14 instead of in the playoffs. If you lose this game, there's a chance you're going to have to cross paths with them again. This is the chance. This is the chance. And that's why this is so exciting. It's on a big stage. We don't have to listen to Tony Romo. We get to watch Collinsworth. We get to watch Tirico. We get to watch Sunday Night Football. And you get a huge opportunity. On the chat, PP asks, signature win this year if we beat KC. I would say yes. And I would say the vibes would be really high if you beat Kansas City. I thought this was a big win for the 2019 Texans. They kind of built on it. They ended up going back and wetting the bed because Bill O'Brien, the moment was a little bit too big for him. But if they're able to get this dub, then you feel good about yourself. You feel real good about yourself. Final 4 games, you're in the playoffs. It would actually take kind of a collapse for you not to get in. And then you have all these teams playing each other. And you can kind of breathe a little bit and see what happens and see if you can flip the switch. But if they win this game, it gets really interesting. And the league gets shook up a little bit and you start to wonder. And then you start to look at these other teams and you can make a case. I would assume Buffalo is going to be in the playoffs. So Buffalo obviously is battle tested. But all these other teams, they're not as battle tested as DeMeco's Texans, which is crazy to say. But you look at Denver, Bo Nix has been to the playoffs one time. Sean Payton's a battle tested coach, but not with this squad. New England, they're young. Mike Vrabel's been there, but the football team itself is very young. And then Chargers, you already beat their ass. Jim Harbaugh's only in year 2 there. Go down the line. You're just as battle tested. Colts, nope. Jags, nope, not really. So you're almost like the OG at this point with the way that it's laid out. You win this game, it gets real interesting. We have a chance 7 days from now, 6 days from now on post game where we're talking about things going 0 to 100 real quick. And they're where we thought they would be. They're where they thought where the Texans right now are where we thought they would be. They probably wanted to be a little bit better off, but they're where we thought they would be. And the teams that are in the mix with them, they're even worse. Life comes at you fast. Comes at you really, really, really fast. But it's always better when you got that Texans turf grass. Shout out to Dan the man. I was just in the backyard. It rained today. It was cold. I was back there just admiring how beautiful it is and how good it feels outside. It's not too cold yet. No Fairbairn. No Fairbairn. Worried about him this week, too, with how cold it's going to be. But I was back there. Texans turf is the best thing I did for my home. We got the fire going. We got the fire pit laid out. And it's the perfect time to do what I did and get some Texans turf. Forget all these other turf companies. They're all scumbags. They're all lowlifes. They all rip people off. They all think that they're too good for just the common job. Not Dan the man. And he does some big jobs, too, with some big-time people around town. Give Texans turf a look. I shopped, so you don't have to. Just in time for the holidays. You will not regret it. The drainage, all that. Perfect. Always green, always clean. No more mud. Be the envy of your neighbors. Increase that property value. All that. Go to TexansTurf.com. Shout out to Dan the man. Big opportunity this week. Big opportunity this week. And the AFC South, you don't even have to worry about that at this point. It's just getting into the playoffs. Just get into the playoffs at this point, and then the AFC South stuff will take care of itself. We'll see what that opportunity looks like because
playoffs.
You'll have a clear picture of what you want. It won't be debatable. It won't be debatable next week if you beat Kansas City because you got the Colts and Jags. They'll still play 2 times, but whatever the result is, whether the Colts limp into Jacksonville and get the dub, which could very well happen because we know how the Jags handle those types of situations, or the Jags win, your rooting interest is very clear. In every area, it's very clear. It's not multiple. You'll see all this stuff. It'll shape up, and you'll start to be wondering about paths, and that's what we'll be arguing about. But that's where it is. It's going to be a very, very fun run for this Texans team. And the other thing that I'm liking lately about DeMeco Ryans, I don't like that he seems to be a lingerer with the offense. I don't like that. And speaking of that offense, he says he's pleased with it outside of the red zone. Well, maybe you shouldn't be meddling with the red zone, coach. If you like what it is, maybe when they get in the red zone, you shouldn't tell Kaylee what to run, assuming that's what happened. But that's what it sounded like. But he did say that he was pleased with the offense outside of the red zone.
Offensively, I feel like we've moved the ball, really well. And of course, we can still get better in the red zone as finishing with touchdowns. But I think we're moving it well. It always starts there. Whatever you want to do offensively, you got to move the football. I thought we did a good job on first down, mixing in some of our play action passes, running the ball. I thought it was a good mix of plays on first down that gave us the advantage there. We were able to get some explosives on first down, passing the football. And so, you keep pressing forward. You keep trying to get as many yards as possible, get in the red zone, and then that's where, you try to strike and score points.
You try. Maybe don't meddle with it if that's what he's doing. If you don't like it, or maybe he's meddling with it because he didn't like it. But, man, that display there didn't really look that great. So whatever it was that DeMeco did there, probably stay away from that, my friend. Probably stay away from that, my friend. But the thing that I do like about DeMeco, outside of the offense stuff, and I can't emphasize how awesome this is and how fun this is. And by the way, some big news. I know a lot of you are nerds, and I say that in a very endearing way because me and Cody are as well. We've already started our plans for the NFL Combine. We already got our travel ready. So we will be live at the NFL Combine this week, this season again, draft season. You know, it never ends with us. So we already got our plans laid out. We will be live at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis. So get ready for that draft season. Right now, you got a season to cover, though. And again, Spanky's the 12th and the 2nd. We hope to see you there. Spanky Sharpstown, BB's this Friday, and 2 Fridays from that out there in the north. Y'all have asked us to go north. We're going north up there to Kingwood. So we hope to see you there. But live at Spanky's next week. Y'all know that's my home base. That's where I do things. And that's how we're going to roll. So the one thing I've liked about DeMeco the last couple of weeks is it feels like he's kind of understanding that the offense is a problem and the offense has to be better if they want to be great. And here was DeMeco Ryans. It felt kind of like he used to be a little bit O'Brien-y, where it was like, we won, let's soak it in, let's shake them haters off. And, hey, winning is winning. And how dare anyone say anything bad about us whenever we win? It feels like, at the very least, it feels like DeMeco Ryans has kind of grown out of that, which is good to see. And it shows that he's truly got his eye on the prize. Here's DeMeco Ryans talking about, hey, we got 4 dubs in a row, but we are far from a finished product.
I'm excited that we got the win, but I think the biggest takeaway for me is we left so much out there, right? And there's still so many things where we can actually, so many things we can do better. And I know it's tough to say that, but it is some small things, some things I know we can do better, things we've worked, things we can clean up technique-wise, fundamental-wise. I just feel like we still left a lot of plays out there, and that's my challenge to our guys. It's always, how do you get better?
Now, which guys does he need to challenge, you think? I think that the guys that need to be challenged the most, it's Nick Caley. And I think it's maybe even the defense. And I know that might sound crazy, but maybe it's the defense, because the defense is so good that it feels like the defense can elevate their play. It's realistic. It's like asking a lot. I always use the honor student theory, but it's like asking a lot from your honor student. I think if you ask the defense, hey, let's crank it up a notch. Hey, Will Anderson, let's crank it up a notch. Daniil Hunter, let's crank it up a notch. Sting, Kamari Lassiter. They got Kamari Lassiter blitzing now. I think because they are so good, I think you can ask more of the defense. Now you're going to need the offense, but they need more of the defense. By the way, apologies to my guy Frank Ross. I know I've been giving him a lot of crap. I got to say, good performance the other day. You needed it. Is the curse gone? Is the Frank Ross curse finally gone? I hope so. I felt bad for him, man. I don't like that the football gods side with your boy. I don't like that. I don't like that he went from number 2 DVOA special teams to, after the unnecessary mansplain, down to bottom half of the league. I didn't like that. So I was glad Frank Ross's special teams were there when they need him. So maybe the football gods, I asked them. I can't tell him what to do. It's not like DeMeco Ryans with Nick Caley. I can't tell. DeMeco can go tell Nick Caley, hey, run a tight end QB sneak back-to-back times and go hardo. I can't tell the football gods what to do, but I asked him. I said, hey, this is enough on Frank, man. I forgive him. You guys need to forgive him. I said that before the game. I was sitting, I woke up, took a shower, and I talked to the football gods, as I do before every Sunday. I said, hey, enough is enough. I know you're upset with Frank. Yes, it was a bad display, but let's just try to reverse the jinx. And then the football god looked down at me, and I heard him say, don't tell me what to effing do. And I was like, oh, damn. But he might have listened. Don't know. Don't know. But I tried. I looked up and I tried, and I think it might be off. So I'm happy for Frank Ross. I'm happy for his special teams. But there's another level to this defense. The other thing, man, Kamari Lassiter, when he gets, man, that he's like another damn linebacker. I know that a lot of times they say that about a corner, and they're like, man, he's like an extra linebacker on the field. You're like, okay, whatever. He's like an extra linebacker on the field. You kind of roll your eyes. You're like, okay. He is. That dude is an absolute.
I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog, I'm a dog.
That dude's a monster out there. I love that they're blitzing him now, too. That dude's a savage. Absolute savage on the football field. Absolute beast. Freedom Fighter says, I need to talk to the refs god. I don't know the refs god. I just know the football gods. Refs gods, when you go to Kansas City, you can't do that. You get struck with lightning if you try to go against the Chiefs with the refs god. Can't do that. Plus, the Texans don't need to be asking for any favors from the refs god at this point. They got enough the other day. We're being honest. On the chat, PP again says, we need more Knoll. I agree. I would love to see some Jalen Knoll. I would love to see him get the opportunity to make some sort of contribution before this season ends. I'm not going to hold my breath, but my gosh, Christian Kirk, what is he doing for this team now? He's an absolute non-factor at this point. I almost feel like I insulted 2020 Randall Cobb. Some thought I was being crazy. How could you? What are you trying to be? Way to exaggerate that Christian Kirk is 2020 Randall Cobb. I think I owe Randall Cobb an apology, quite frankly. I think I owe him an apology. Freedom Fighter says, I think the Colts can beat the Jaguars in Lucas Oil. They can beat the Jaguars in Duval. Like they can beat them. It's just they're hobbled and there's not much upside. FL Texan, you're being crazy. He says Texans versus Cowboys in the Super Bowl. Cowboys are pretty good now. Since they made that trade. Defense, not as bad. Offense, very good. Very good play caller. Schottenheimer is a way better play caller than Nick Caley. Has some good weapons too. But they're not. NFC is a little bit tougher than the AFC. Frank says the Chiefs looked lousy against the Colts the other week. They did, but I think that was kind of the start of the Daniel Jones injury, wasn't it? But the Chiefs did flip the switch. For what it's worth, they did flip the switch, which is what they've been known to do and what they have an opportunity to do this Sunday against the Texans. The Hurting says, Landry, how do you feel about the Hail Mary before the half with 3 seconds left? And it was just 3 yards longer to be kicker career long. Look, as soon as you go 41 seconds, with 3 seconds left, you got to throw the Hail Mary. You can't run a play in 3 seconds. But as soon as you run one play and then you don't snap it till the next play till 41 seconds later, and then you run a play and the guy is ruled inbounds, and then you don't snap it for 22 seconds after that, you've already killed 1 minute and 3 out of 1 minute and 50. So as soon as that happened, I basically just said, F this. I'm gonna go get ready for the second half. I put the laptop down with the notes. I think my wife asked me to make her eggs. Yeah, my wife asked me to make her eggs. That's right. She said, will you make me eggs? I was going to wait till halftime. I got started on the eggs after I saw those first 3 plays. I was like, all right, I'll just get the eggs ready. So I made the eggs, and then I didn't even really watch the Hail Mary, to be honest with you. After you waste 1 minute 3 on 2 plays, I didn't think much of it, my friend. K. Hogan says the Texans have never needed to be a good offense to win, just an average to mediocre offense. Yes, and they've They've struggled to do that. And sometimes when they have been that, the defense has still been able to carry them. But you're right. They're graded on a curve. It's 100% right. They're graded on a curve. It's an absolute fact. Derek on the chat says, Landry, the offense play like they hope to score and win instead of going out there expecting to score and win. All right, let me read this again. Hold on. The offense plays like they hope to score and win instead of going out there expecting to score and win. Yeah, I don't know if it's a mindset thing as much as it is just like an ability thing, whether it's players or coaches. I don't know if it's a mindset. It's easy to question the mindset when there's not success, but I don't necessarily know that it's a mindset thing on this offense. I think you could question Laramie Tunsil's mindset last year. I did, but I don't know that this offensive line lacks a mindset. So I don't know. I don't necessarily think so, but hey, the reality is whatever they're doing, maybe they just do the opposite. Whatever the mindset is, whatever the approach is, maybe they just do the opposite. Travis B. Dyson says, best interest for the Colts to win at least one against the Jags. No, I think you just want one team to get swept away. And with the Colts schedule, it's tough enough to where they can just get swept away. Because then you hop over them and you're basically in the playoff picture. That would be me. It's debatable. It'll be much more clear in 7 days. It'll be much more clear in 7 days. For me, it's Jags win twice, Jags win division, Texans wild card. The path to the playoffs a little bit different than we've been used to. But hey, why not? It's not like they've done anything with all those division titles and everything. So why the hell not? That's where I would lean. But that's just me. Someone says I need to get the haircut from Frank Ross to make sure we're right with the football gods. I don't know if that's going to curse it or not. Rhino says, Landry, thank you for calling it off. I tried, man. I don't know if I called it off, but I tried to speak to him for Frank. T on the chat. Shout out to T. He says the Colts starting DJ with that injury is desperation. They're completely one-dimensional with him not being able to run. He might be their best choice. And that's what's sad about it is he might be their best choice. And that's how bad things are for them. And that's how little confidence they have in Anthony Richardson. That's how little confidence they have in Riley Leonard. Might be their best choice, but let's just be serious. That team ain't scaring nobody. That team ain't beating nobody. But they're going to ride and die with Daniel Jones. If it were Patrick Mahomes, they would probably have Patrick Mahomes playing on that foot. CJ Stroud would probably be playing on that foot. Lamar Jackson. That the Colts are so bad right now, and things are so bad for them that Daniel Jones on one foot is their best option. And I actually thought he gutted it out somewhat nicely and put out a decent effort. But yeah, they're definitely desperate, and they're in a tough spot. They're in a really tough spot. I don't know if they're going to be able to do this all year. Like, how long can you play on a hurt fibula? Like, I think that was what Terrell Owens hurt, and it's been one of the most glorious stories in recent football history. That's probably the reason that Daniel Jones is getting that thing. Someone says Kingwood when and where this Friday. Kingwood BB's Tex Orleans out there 2:00 this Friday. Everyone's saying going to Kingwood. We'll be there this Friday, 2 to whenever. Their happy hour is crazy. They got the half price oysters. They got everything. BB's New Orleans. Tex Orleans, excuse me. I guess same thing. I guess I can say New Orleans. Guess I don't know. I'm just looking forward to. I'm looking forward to getting to the north. I know Sharpstown, Spanky's is our home, but it's good to get out there in the north. So we'll see you there. Got to see y'all there. If you beat the Chiefs, do you win out? Someone's asking. Look, it's crazy to think about, but if you beat the Chiefs, you got the Chargers with a quarterback with a broken hand and a guy that you kind of own. You got the Raiders with Geno Smith and an interim offensive coordinator and weekend at Bernie's on the sidelines, Pete Carroll. You got the Cardinals with a dead coach walking and Jacoby Brissett. And then you got the Colts. And not only is it Daniel Jones with a hurt fibula, it's Daniel Jones with a hurt fibula after playing 5 games on it and needing to win probably. Like there was a time where it was like, well, maybe the Colts won't have anything to play for. Okay, unless they just completely gut out these next few games, then they're definitely going to have something to play for. Right now, Jacksonville's in first. So they're going to have to beat them twice. So not only like the question has been with the Colts when we've talked about this, it's been, well, are they going to have anything to play for? And maybe you can get them at the right time where there's not much to play for. Whether they have something to play for or not, the quarterback's going to be on one leg. This is, it is amazing that the Texans are where we thought they would be before the start of the season. And not only that, the stuff around them has just gone great. It's a good time to be alive. Biggest concerns that the Texans have right now, biggest concerns that they have, you have a very thin running back room with Woody Marks banged up. And you have an interesting situation at safety. I would anticipate that Jalen Mills becomes a part of things. I don't think they like Bryant. They like Miles Bryant. I don't think they want him to be their permanent starting safety. He's kind of got a target on his back. So I would think that Jalen Mills is there. Jimmy Ward, I don't think is going to play this year. But I would think that Jalen Mills will. And then DeMeco said that he didn't think that Jalen Reed would miss the entire season. He's been banged up a lot. I don't know. A lot of times I can guess the time frame for like an ankle injury, a knee injury, shoulder. We have timelines. I think sometimes it's kind of unfair when we start guessing the timelines. Just kind of is what it is. And it's a good case study. I don't know what the timeline is for had metal plate in arm and broke metal plate in arm. I don't know what that time frame is. I'll be honest with you. That doesn't sound too fun. But that's what they said happened to Jalen Reed. I guess he had a previous injury where on his forearm or something like that, he had a metal plate, and I guess the metal plate broke. So does that mean you just put the metal plate back? I don't know how that works, man. That seems like a lot. Like between the scopes, the needles, all that type of stuff. I don't know. That's why I always kind of roll my eyes when we're talking about injuries. And I don't really use the term because I hate needles. Like I even hate getting shots. I'll be honest with you. I'm not as bad as I was when I was a kid. I'm not like trying to lock myself in the effing bathroom when I get a shot, but I don't like getting shots. Like I remember when I sliced my arm open right here. When I sliced my arm open, I didn't even go get stitches till the next day. So I was fine. Like this was ripped open. It was 19 stitches. I didn't even go till the next day. I went that day and I was going to get the stitches. And I remember I was freaking out because I had to get a bunch of shots because they had to do the shots all around with like the tetanus. So I say all that to say, whenever someone says, well, they're having minor surgery, I don't know what minor surgery is. I don't even like getting shots. I don't even like getting shots. So minor surgery, all that type of stuff. Yeah. Metal plate. What are we doing there? By the way, after I got this put together, this is how dumb I was. You know what I did right after I got the 18 stitches? I went and hooped. I went and played like intense ass basketball. Because it was like during the break when it was, I went and hooped. It ripped open, and then they just had to use the bubble. So that's why it looks a lot worse. It's actually a cooler scar. It was 18 stitches. I went and tried to hoop. What was I thinking? Young and dumb. Young and dumb. Spanky's Sharpstown next week. Spanky's Sharpstown next week, the 12th and the 2nd. Sharpstown, we're going Sharpstown. That's our home. That's our home base. But we will be in Brownwood this Friday. Hope to see you there. First drink on us. Their drinks are pretty intense, though. Got to be safe out there at BB's. BB's, Brownwood this Friday. Spanky's the 12th and the 2nd. And we'll also be back at BB's on the 19th. So we got you covered. We got you very, very, very covered. That's how it goes. Mr. Clean says he'll be at Spanky's on the 2nd. We look forward to seeing you there, my friend. First drink on us. Put it on my tab. It's going to be that new year. Going to be a fun time. Appreciate everyone for rolling through. This is getting fun. Sunday night football against the Chiefs. It doesn't get much better than that. This is great. This is great. It's always better when you're covering a winning football team. It's always better when you're covering a relevant football team. Doesn't get more relevant than desperate ass Kansas City Chiefs against the Texans, who are starting to get a lot of love. Big win against Indianapolis. What you thought Indianapolis was at the start of the season no longer exists. What you thought the Texans would be at the start of the season, alive and well, and the surroundings, very beatable, very doable. Perhaps the biggest threat this Sunday in the previously mentioned contest. It's going to be fun. Cannot wait. We will see you at Spanky's the 12th and the 2nd. We'll see you at BB's, Tex Orleans in Brownwood this Friday. Myself, Cody Stoots, will be there. Texans are off tomorrow. Wednesday, DeMeco will speak. CJ will speak. And then Thursday, we'll talk to the coordinators. Friday, we'll have a walkthrough. We'll try to put together a little interview. Tell us who we should interview this week from the Texans. Who should me and Cody interview this week from the Texans? We got to talk to somebody. We always try to talk to people that we don't hear from very often. So give us those suggestions in the comments. Who should we talk to? Who do we not hear enough from? We'll try to set that up. And I appreciate y'all for rolling through. It's a great time to be alive. Travis on the chat says, Colts sweep Jags. We sweep Colts. We win division regardless of record, ? Well, it would depend what you did in the other games, you know? So it would depend what you did against the Chiefs, Chargers, Cardinals. But if you're saying if there's a tie, I don't know. There's a lot of ifs there, Trav. I think after this week we'll have a better grasp. But yeah, if the Colts sweep the Jags and then you beat the Colts and the Texans and Colts have this end with the same record, then yes, you would. But there's still, damn near a handful of games that would have to happen. But man, it's just fun that we're talking about it. It's just fun that we're talking about. It's fun we get to talk about the Chiefs. It'll be good. Mr. Clean says Ursary will be good. He's actually a Chiefs fan too, and they passed on him. That's good looking right there, Mr. Clean. I think you might have a winner there with Ariante Ursary. I know they passed on him. I'm going to have to get him to open up about that. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Shout out to TDECU. Download that Sleeper app. Get that 20% or that $20 free. Use that promo code Locker. It's going to be fun. Fun time to be alive. Good stuff. I keep saying Brownwood. I meant Kingwood. I'm an idiot. I'm a moron. My bad. That's on me. Or is it?
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the street.
Just tune into SNL. We got you covered. Appreciate y'all for rolling through. Kingwood. Good Lord. Brownwood. Where the hell am I sending myself? Who knows? Sending myself to Sunday night against the Chiefs. Let's feast.
Opinions to give without takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number one. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localized, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.